You and I were never anything.
Bruh.
I put up with a lot worse from you.
Bruh.
Nobody has ever treated me the way Jer does. Ever.
Bruh.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are breaking down Season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty, Episode 7. We have a lot to get to today, including the fact that this episode had probably the best needle drops of this entire season. Also, 2 Taylor Swift songs, one of which we'll be breaking down the lyrics of, so stick around for that. Another repeat song from Season 1. I wonder what they're doing with that. And one of the best love confessions of all time. So buckle up, we've got a lot to talk about today. To start off the episode, we get Juno by Sabrina Carpenter, and this is just perfection. It's the week of the wedding, and Belly and Conrad have been living in the summer house and just avoiding each other since the surf scene. So since last episode, they've had no close encounters, but Conrad suddenly seems to be randomly hurting himself on everything in the house as he's fixing it up. So maybe he's doing that for attention. Belly is just getting the house ready for all their guests to come, and Conrad walks in and he puts out some hydrangeas, which Susanna, his mom, always used to put out hydrangeas before visitors came. And I think it's just like, again, Conrad is so his mom. Like, they are so tethered. This is nothing, like actually nothing, but Conrad got like electrocuted, and the whole thing between him and Belly is like, I need to be with somebody that gives me like shocks, that makes me feel like I'm like being struck by lightning or whatever. And him just being like, being electrocuted by the lights or whatever is just like, oh, it's electric between him and Belly. Oh my God. Stephen and Denise are at work, and they're still planning their little thing to start a new company together, and then they decide to hitch a ride to Cousins together. Jer arrives in Cousins, and I'll just say it looks like the red flowers in the hydrangea bushes are like increasing. Like, it looks like there are more red flowers in the hydrangeas, and that might just be me literally losing my mind. I wouldn't put it past myself, but it looks like there are more red flowers than there were last week. Now, Jer brings a bunch of stuff for the goodie bags for his and Belly's wedding, including Takis, beer koozies, and Smirnoff ices so that they can ice people at their weddings. You're icing people at your wedding? If both of them were on board, it'd be like, oh wait, that's fun in camp. But because Belly's like, really? It's just, again, another instance in which Belly's taking this way more seriously than Jer is, even though he's the one that wanted to do it. And he brought some of the devil's lettuce there so that way they could have fun. And Belly, again, just doesn't seem, she's just like, whatever. Just feels like Jer is giving very childish vibes. And she's like, bro, we're literally getting married. Can you lock in, please? Conrad comes out and he's like, hey, so good to see you, Jer. Me when I lie and say that I'm happy to see my brother who I hate. And Conrad takes the box out of Belly's hands because chivalry is not dead. John, Laurel, Adam, and Kaylee have now all arrived at the inn, and Laurel just gives Kaylee and Adam a good bashing. She says, oh, I should thank you for helping with the wedding. I should, not I am thanking you, which is just a nice little slide. And then Adam comes back with, well, someone had to do it. I know you're not disrespecting Laurel. Adam. As if you have a leg to stand on. You literally brought the woman that you cheated on your canceled riddled wife with to your son's wedding, and your son doesn't even know that she was your mistress while his mom was dying. Like, let's actually back all the way up because you have no legs to stand on here. All of Jer and Belly's friends arrive at the summer house, so we now have Taylor, Annika, Redbird, Blake, Ethan at the summer house. I love Redbird. I'm so happy to see him back on my screen. He's one of the fun, like, I genuinely think his lines, I don't know if they're improv or if it's just his writing is like really good, because every single time I laughed out loud in this episode, it was from one of his lines. Also, good to see Annika back on her screen. Also, I think this is when The Summer I Turned Pretty thrives the most, is when all of the characters are back on screen together. Because the first couple of episodes of this season really felt kind of like, well, and again, maybe this is because I support Team Conrad and not Team Jeremiah, and like the first couple of episodes were all like catered toward Team Jeremiah, but like I feel like this show is at its peak when it's happening on the beach with all of the characters there. Not just meaning Conrad, Belly, and Jeremiah. I mean Taylor. I mean Steven. I mean Cameron. Like, I need the whole group, I need there to be more than like 2 characters in every scene, I think is when it's the most fun for me. But maybe other people disagree, but I just feel like the fun summertime show that it is at its best when everybody is there on the beach or in the summer house, just being together and having fun and having drama. All the girls are looking so gorgeous, it's not even funny, and you can see Conrad in the corner just looking at Belly when she gets the little veil put on her head. Taylor is dissing Lucinda, again, just to set up when she does pop off on Lucinda on the phone later. But she's like, I don't care that my mom hooked up with Dave Matthews. And Annika goes, who's that? Okay, let's not be disrespecting Dave Matthews. I am their age. Oh my God, they're my age. Belly is literally getting married and she's my age. I need to think about this for a second. I'm supposed to be the same age as Annika, Taylor, and Belly, and I know who Dave Matthews is, so let's back off of him. Annika and Conrad have a little moment. She introduces herself and he introduces himself, and there's some vibes, and Belly is in the background. It's almost like she forgets that everybody can see her face because she's sitting there like, if that's how you get when this man is just talking to other people, how could you imagine a world in which you're not the person who's getting married to him? They fire up the grill, everybody's outside having fun, the girls are in the pool, the boys are playing Pong, I think, and they're playing Paper Planes, which is a good song. Annika and Taylor and Belly have a very funny interaction about how Belly cannot get mad at Jer for having his ex at the wedding, considering Belly's ex is the best man. So, and Annika's like, I didn't know Conrad was hot. He is. And Belly's like, oh yeah, no, Annika, you can totally go for Conrad. And Taylor is like, do not go for Conrad. Annika asks Taylor if she ever kissed Conrad, and Taylor is like, absolutely not, never. But I did kiss Jeremiah though. So she never in her life would have deigned to kiss Conrad because that's Belly's man. But when they were younger, oh, Jeremiah, sure, go ahead, have at it. It's just like, it's always been Conrad all along, which is why she would never deign to kiss Conrad, but it was totally fine that she kissed Jeremiah. And Belly doesn't even seem all up in arms about it. She's just like, yeah, no, it was fine, it was whatever, I had to guard the door. Like, Steven, Taylor, and Denise all meet inside in the kitchen. It's very awkward. Taylor introduces herself as MOH, the maid of honor, and Denise introduces herself as MBA, as in like, her master's degree. And after Denise leaves, Taylor agrees to be Steven's wingman for the night or for the wedding to try to get him together with Denise. And it's just like, Taylor doesn't see it, but her and Conrad are so linked because she's like, I'd rather be in your life and helping you get somebody else than not be in your life at all. Then we get a very interesting scene. The boys and the girls rehearse their dances that they're going to put on at the wedding. The girls ate down, although the idea of Belly performing that in front of her parents actually makes me want to crawl outside of my skin and wither away. Then we cut to the boys, and the boys are there, and they are moving, and there is music on, and that is all I can say. All the guys dancing just gives me like flashback to the escort dance from season 1 at the debutante ball. The dance ends. Then Jer shares with Conrad that Adam, their father, actually offered Jer a full-time position at the company starting in the fall, meaning Jer would be living in Boston, probably with his dad, working at the company and taking online classes for the fall semester. And Conrad's like, you're not taking it, right? Jer's like, I don't know. And Jer has not talked to Belly about it and does not talk to Belly about it for the entirety of the episode. So I'm hoping he talks to her about it before, they get married. So you're telling me that Jer is going to be in Boston in the fall, living with his dad, and Belly's going to be still going to classes because she obviously has to finish out her senior year, and she's not going to Paris, but he's not even going to be there anyway. If Jer isn't going to be there, then why are you not going to Paris? And Conrad just tells Jeremiah in a very earnest, wholesome way, like, honestly, you can do better than following in Dad's footsteps. And Jeremiah gets all tight about it. And like everything that Conrad does this episode seems to be setting Jeremiah off. And Jeremiah also says, oh, and you looked after my girl all summer. A, Belly can look after herself. B, if he's looking after your girl, why aren't you looking after your girl? If you think she needs somebody to be looking after her, why isn't it you? Then when the boys are outside playing with the hurricane vases for some reason, they shatter one, and Conrad and Belly are in the kitchen alone together, and Conrad's like, I think that was one of our hurricane vases. Our hurricane vases. They're a married couple of 30 years with 2 full-grown kids and 2 grandkids on the way. It's the night of Jeremiah's bachelor and Belly's bachelorette parties. So because it's the night of their bachelorettes, Belly is getting all dolled up, and Jeremiah comes in right after she finished all of her makeup. They get a little spicy. She also had just finished her makeup though. Like, I would be mad because half of her makeup probably wiped off. Like, it doesn't look like it did, but if they were in the real world, like, but of course they're not in the real world because they are fictional characters. Gotta give myself a reality check sometimes. After that, Belly is like, Jer, we should meet up after our bachelorette parties tonight. Belly goes to telepathically send him the location that they should meet up. And Jeremiah says the pool. Let's talk about it. Okay. The pool has greater significance to Belly and Jeremiah. The pool is where they first got together. The pool is where they first kissed in season 1. And the pool is where they got their first Taylor Swift song, Delicate, in season 2, when they were playing around in the pool and all that stuff. The pool is the most significant location for them in terms of their relationship that we have seen in this show at the summer house, I'll say. Belly says, I was thinking the beach. The beach is the place that has the most significance between her and Conrad's relationship in this show, right? Starting off with season 1, that's where they first kissed at the end of season 1 while This Love by Taylor Swift played. That is also where they got Invisible String by Taylor Swift in season 2 when they went to the summer house for Christmas, and they dance around and it's snowing and they're on the beach and it's so cute and they just have the best little time. That's also a very important moment in their relationship. Another very important moment in their relationship is, I thought you knew, from season 2. I'll have to say that the beach is a place of very high significance for Belly and Conrad, and the pool is a place of very high significance for Belly and Jer. And Jer said, let's meet up at the pool, and Belly said, let's meet up at the beach. And Conrad ends up going to the beach. Then we get another Chappel Roan song. This is the 3rd of the season, I believe, After Midnight, which I love that song. We see the bachelor and the bachelorette parties break off in downtown Cousins. The boys go to one bar, the girls go to another bar, and thus begins our bachelor-bachelorette night of debauchery. So the girls hit up a bar, and Taylor, Annika, and Belly have a very funny conversation about Belly's body count. And this is the moment that Annika realizes that Belly has only ever been with Jeremiah and his brother. The boys end up at another bar where Sticky by Tyler, the Creator, is playing. Again, another wonderful song. Conrad is going to be the designated driver for the night, which is just perfection because it means that Conrad is entirely sober as he watches Jer devolve and release all of his secrets. In the context of Steven and Conrad and Jeremiah having a conversation about how Steven should go for Denise, Jeremiah says, she's as hot as Taylor. Jeremiah, you need to stop calling other people hot. You need to stop calling other people hot. You're about to get married. Steven canonically writing and liking Dramione fanfiction is just very, very funny to me. Adam and Laurel, yes, we're back to the parents. Adam and Laurel smooch at the bar. We're on the road to them getting back together. Honestly, I'm thinking that they get married. I'm thinking that Adam and Laurel get remarried. Thoughts on that? Sound off in the comments. As they're moving between bars, Taylor and Belly are out on the street outside of this candy store that Annika's in, and Belly is like, oh, Taylor, I love you. Like, thank you for getting my mom to come to my bridal shower. And Taylor's like, oh, so I didn't do that. That was not me. And then Belly kind of starts to spiral because she's like, who did it? Who did it? And we get a flashback. In this flashback, we have the song Robin by Taylor Swift playing. The purpose of this flashback is to show us that Belly really wanted this glass unicorn and Conrad ended up getting it for her, which comes back into play later. But it also just goes to show Conrad has always been there for Belly when she needed it. As we flash forward to present time, Belly is outside of the candy store still, and the boys end up coming up the sidewalk. And she sees Jeremiah, and it's like, oh, whatever, he gets pulled away by his bros. But she stops Conrad and she says, "Did you talk to my mom?" And he's like, what do you mean? I didn't do anything. And she pulls it out of him that yes, he was the one that convinced her mom to go to the bridal shower and to go to the wedding. And she's asking, why? Why did you do it? And he says, well, it's your wedding. I think you should have everything you've ever pictured. Which again comes into play later. Also, Denise switches sides. She was at the bachelor party and Taylor pulls her to come to the bachelorette party now, which is good because we're gonna dispel those guys girl rumors that are around Denise. As Belly is in the beginning stages of her crash out about the fact that Conrad is the one that brought her mom back to the wedding, she asks Taylor for a devil's lettuce gummy and Taylor's like, sure. If you see your friend crashing out already, do not give her a gummy. The boys have made it to their second bar. Conrad just looks so uncomfortable, especially because he's drinking water and all the guys are like getting progressively more and more drunk. Then something kind of weird happens and Jeremiah puts his arm on Conrad's shoulder and is just talking about, oh, you've always looked out for me, we've always blah, 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 blah. And he just begins to talk about him and Belly to Conrad and Conrad's like, okay. And Jeremiah's like, listen, me and Belly, we're gonna take care of each other now. And Conrad's like, yeah, okay. And Jeremiah's like, she's my family. Conrad's like, okay. Jeremiah's like, do you get that? She's my family. Conrad's like, okay. But it just felt so evil and menacing. The girls get to their second location, which is a tiki bar, and over the speakers, Girl So Confusing by Charlie XCX and Lorde is playing. Yeah. And so of course that means that Taylor and Denise settle their differences. They have a very wholesome, very real conversation about Denise liking Steven, Taylor just wanting Steven to be happy, Steven definitely liking Denise, and Taylor's just like, you two should be together. And so Denise goes and calls Steven up. And Taylor's just left looking very sad and alone. And during that sequence, right when they enter the bar, they have this really cool like one camera shot where it like goes around the girls and then follows Taylor back to Denise. I just thought that was a cool shot. Back at the boys' bar, Steven receives this text from Denise and is like, well, I'm leaving. You won't even notice that I'm gone though. Jeremiah at this point is wasted. And We Can't Be Friends comes on and Jeremiah throws his drink and is like, oh my God, I love this song. Jeremiah being an Ari stan is so funny. And so Conrad storms off because he needs to go dry his clothes. We Can't Be Friends comes on and we cut to Belly and she's dancing in the club. Mind you, the gummy is starting to take effect and she's partying and suddenly she starts editing Belly Conrad in her head. The funniest thing she has ever done. She's seeing clips of them in her head. And the clips go as follows, and I'm gonna read them off my note card, so sorry if I'm looking down. But the first clip we see is the scene where she's healing the wound from the surfing. Then we see Conrad wiping the peach juice off of her face. Then we see them being intimate for the first time at the summer house during their Christmas trip. Then we see her and him as younger kids when he taught her how to dance. Then we see him being her escort for the debutante ball. Then we see him arriving at her debutante ball rehearsals the night after they almost kissed. Then we see this Christmas when he picked her up and was carrying her to the couch after she fell down the stairs. And lastly, we see their first kiss on the beach in season 1 and the moments directly after when they're kind of all giddy and happy, which is some season 1 and some in season 2. And she's just being overwhelmed and flooded by these memories of her and him. And she's like, oh no, she starts freaking out. Red is one of the songs that they were using for the promo for this season. And part of the lyrics for the song Red go, remembering him comes in flashbacks and echoes. She was remembering him in flashbacks on the dance floor at her bachelorette party to his brother. Oh my God. If you ever catch me fantasizing about my fiance's brother like 2 nights before I get married, lock me up. Lock me up and throw away the key. And so, reasonably, Belly proceeds to crash out and runs into the bathroom with Taylor. And it's a very nice bathroom for a bar. Now in the bathroom, Belly is just freaking out. She's having a moment. She's like, he got me the unicorn and he got me my mom. And Belly says, like, this is not the wedding I wanted. This is not, I didn't want the dress. I didn't want the flowers, all of it. I didn't want it. I only ever pictured Conrad. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Taylor's just like, oh, I did not sign up for this. But she walks in and she is like, she handles the situation the best anybody really could, honestly. She's like talking Belly down, like, no, it's okay. So Taylor's like, ooh, we gotta handle this. Let's go home. Let's go home and let's sleep it off and let's never give Belly a gummy again. Now we get the second most anticipated event of this episode, which is Conrad finding out that Jeremiah cheated on Belly. Yeah, Conrad is coming back from the bathroom after washing Jeremiah's drink off of him, and overhears Redbird telling the other boys in the bachelor party about how Jeremiah slept with Lacey Barone in Cabo over spring break. Now, never at any point does he mention that Belly and him were broke up. In fact, all he says is that Jeremiah was away from Belly for 2 seconds and he got with the hottest girl in school. Which is like, so did Jeremiah not tell his boys that he and Belly broke up? In which case he really didn't think that him and Belly were broken up. In which case he should not have slept with her. Because I agree that like it was maybe not entirely as black and white as he cheated on her, because they may or may not have been in a relationship. But whether or not he officially cheated on her is not the point. The point is that it was wrong. Conrad overhears this and this man is seeing red. This man is mad. After Conrad hears that Jeremiah has cheated on Belly, Jeremiah actually begins to get sick and he runs away past Conrad into the bathroom and starts throwing up. And Conrad chases him in there and he looks like he's gonna start cursing Jer out, but he turns away because he feels bad because Jer is like actively throwing up in the toilet. Now, if it were me, I would have pushed Jer's head into the toilet. I would have. So the boys arrive home and Taylor's like, hey, why is Jeremiah going upstairs? Belly's out on the beach to meet him. And the boys are like, no, he's gonna be sick. Like, we gotta take him upstairs. They also inform Taylor that Steven and Denise are at the inn, Kissing, and Taylor is like depressed about it. And her mom calls her just to say like, hey, I checked into the inn. And Taylor basically just tells Lucinda all about how Steven and Denise are going to be together and how Denise is actually a really nice girl. And Lucinda is still on the Delulu train and she's like, no, you guys can be together. And Taylor's like, stop it. I'm not going to be pathetic like you holding on to a man that doesn't want me. Read her for Phil. So Lucinda's like, oh, okay, I get it, and hangs up. This is the amount of notes I have for the love confession scene, so let's get to it. Starting off strong with Conrad was at the beach. The beach is a place of significance to him in terms of him and Belly's relationship. So yes, he went to the beach. And Conrad's like, listen, Jared cheated on you. Like, I didn't want to be the one to say it, but like, you have the right to know you're about to get married to him. And Belly's like, so I do know. And then Conrad begins to lose his mind because he thought, oh, okay, she doesn't know. Like, I need to tell her because she shouldn't be marrying a man that doesn't see her worth, yada, yada, yada. She says Jeremiah hates himself for doing it, so she forgives him, even though it did not seem like Jeremiah hated himself for doing it at the bar tonight, but that's just me. Conrad's like, how could you do that? How could you put up with that? Belly says, I put up with a lot worse from you. Who do you think you are? What do you mean? He never even... And he rightfully responds with, I never even looked at another girl when we were together. Yeah. Now, Belly, what did he do? He had depression. His mom died. Is that what he did to you? I understand that Conrad was not a good boyfriend at the time. Trust. But it is not comparable to cheating on her. At least I don't think so. She says, no one has ever treated me the way Jer does. And that's a good thing, too. That's a good thing. At this point, Belly tries to leave, and Conrad's like, you're having your wedding at a country club. Who are you? Jess Mariano possessed his spirit there for a second. Why did you drop out of Yale? Because Conrad knows her. And she was just saying in the bathroom that this is never what she wanted. The dresses, the flowers, the wedding, any of it. And Conrad knows that. And so he's like, why are you doing this? Whereas Jer was the one that brought her to this country club, dresses, flowers, wedding. Then finally the moment comes and Conrad says, I still love you. This is the first time Belly has heard Conrad say to her face that he loves her. And it has to be like this. At this time, she is fuming. And I've seen a lot of discourse online about what Belly says in this conversation, but I think it's obvious that she is lying, not only to Conrad, but to herself. She loved him so deeply for so many years, and they finally ended up in a relationship, but he never said that he loved her. He thought she knew, right? Right? So to now hear that he always loved her right before she's gonna get married to his brother is like not good for her psyche. So she's sitting there like, I'm just gonna start lying to myself, to him, to anybody that will listen, I will lie to them. And Belly's like, why are you saying this all of a sudden? He's like, it's not all of a sudden, it's always. It is always. That's why we've been having all these flashbacks this season. That's why we've been having all these flashbacks this entire series, is to show that it wasn't just then, it was always. He's always loved her. He comes clean to her about the motel, and he finally tells her that he broke up with her because he thought he couldn't make her happy and that he would just drag her down with him. He thought that Jer would make her happier. He thought that Jer would treat her the way that she needed to be treated, so he was like, I'm gonna back off because I think he will make you happier. And that's why he's so angry in this moment, and that's why he was so annoyed about the cheating thing, is because at that moment he realized, oh my God, I did all this for nothing. I gave her up. I forced myself to hide my love for her because I thought that she was getting something better with Jer, because I thought he would treat her better, because I thought he would value her or whatever. And turns out he's cheating on her. And finally comes the moment to end all moments. He says, don't marry him, be with me. Oh my God! And Belly just starts lying and says, you will never be what Jer is to me. You and I were never anything. Me when I lie. As if she didn't like 20 minutes ago say the only thing she ever pictured at her wedding was Conrad. Like, she's just straight up lying to herself, lying to him, lying to Jer. And the song that plays as she is walking away from Conrad after saying we were never anything is When the Party's Over by Billie Eilish. It's a cover. And this is actually not the first time that we've heard this song on the show. That's right, we actually got this song, the official Billie Eilish version, in season 1. In season 1, when we get this song, it's almost an identical situation. Conrad is telling Belly, like, you know, not I love you, but he's saying, you know, I just don't want to lose you. And he's like almost going in for the kiss. And she's like, no, we like, stop. And she walks away and leaves him standing there alone. And the same thing happens in this, just on a grander scale, where Conrad confesses all of his love for her and Belly says no and walks away, leaving him standing there alone again. Once Belly is out of Conrad's line of vision, she drops to the ground and just sobs. And she gets up, brushes the sand off of her, and goes back to the summer house. Now, being a book reader, I'm kind of annoyed that they didn't end up putting her narration in this part of the episode, because what she's thinking is more important almost than what she's saying. So I'm just gonna read you a couple of things that I think are important to know as she walked away from him. As I walked, I told myself, hold it, just a little longer. Only when I was sure he couldn't see me, only when the house was in sight again, that was when I let myself cry. I dropped down in the sand and cried for Conrad, and then for me. I cried for what was never going to be. It's a known fact in life that you can't have everything. In my heart, I knew I loved them both, as much as it is possible to love two people at the same time. Conrad and I were linked. We would always be linked. That wasn't something I could do away with. I knew that now. That love wasn't something you could erase, no matter how hard you tried. So it's not like she doesn't still love him. She just is so overwhelmed by this outpour of passion after thinking that he was, you know, this cold, heartless guy. I think the narration is important because some people are so anti-Belly right now. And trust, I don't like the decisions that she's making, but I get what she's doing. She's lying to herself and she's lying to him because it's so much easier that way. If she starts letting in her real emotions, she might blow up her whole life. And the episode doesn't stop there, right? We get a scene of Steven and Denise back at the inn and they almost kiss, but Lucinda, Taylor's mom, is there and she's drunk because she is sad about what Taylor said to her on the phone. Lucinda steps in and interrupts their kiss, and Steven goes and helps her back to her room. Steven is just so great. Billy gets back to the summer house and goes into Jer's room and sees him passed out on the bed, taking up the entire bed. So she leaves him and goes to her bedroom, which is where Taylor is staying. And she gets into bed And Taylor immediately puts it together and is like, Jared never went out there. The boys also said that Conrad never came back. You were out there for a while. Were you with Conrad? And Belly is like, we cannot have this conversation right now. And she's just sobbing. Taylor's just like, all right, we're not gonna have this conversation, but I'm gonna be there for you. And Taylor at this point is the only one who truly knows what Belly is thinking, and the only one who Belly didn't lie to. Because of whatever she was, when she was crossed, she was finally honest and was like, she only ever pictured Conrad. And of course, Taylor happened to be there for that, which I really appreciate, because now it's like there's somebody else that's going to hold her accountable. And it is at this point that our second Taylor Swift song for the episode starts playing, LOML, standing for both love of my life and loss of my life. Yeah, Taylor Swift, you lyrical genius. The song plays and we see Belly crying, Jeremiah just asleep, with no knowledge of what has just happened. Conrad freaking out, having a panic attack on the docks, just sobbing. And Belly knocks on her wall between her and Jer's bed to see if Jer will knock back, and he never does. And that's where our episode ends. Now, LOML is a very important song, and they choose all the songs with real precision for this show. So I have the lyrics for that song pulled up on my iPad, and I'm just gonna go through and read out some of the most important ones to you, just so that you can kind of get a grasp of how perfect this song is for their situation. So the first lyrics, which we can hear very clearly in the show, are, who's gonna stop us from waltzing back into rekindled flames if we know the steps anyway? That's how it starts, which is already like gut punch. Oh, okay, I clearly see what we're doing here. That's what we're gonna do. Like, awesome, we're all gonna end up crying. Then it goes into, we embroidered the memories of the time I was away, stitching we were just kids, babe. Now what is this show chock full of? Memories of Conrad and Belly together as kids. Yeah, I thought I was better safe than starry-eyed. I felt a glow like this. Never before and never since. She's never felt the sparks with anyone else. That's the running theme, is that like she wants to feel sparks, she wants to feel electricity. I'm skipping around in this, but we also get, you low down boy, you stand up guy. Because in her mind, she's painting Conrad to be such this villain in her story for giving his love and then taking it away, which is, yes, evil. But now it's 4 years since then, and he's grown so much and gone to therapy and become a lot more mature and emotionally aware. And after this love confession, she's like, oh, he's actually not the bad guy I've been painting him to be in my mind. This sucks. You told me I'm the love of your life, which he just did. Later on, we get a con man sells a fool a get love quick scheme. Jeremiah is her get love quick scheme. It's easy. Just because it's easy doesn't mean that it's the right choice. I wish I could unrecall how we almost had it all. It was legendary, it was momentary, it was unnecessary, should have let it stay buried. Oh, what a valiant roar, what a bland goodbye. I'll never leave, never mind. And in the very last lines of the song are, and I'll still see it until I die, you're the loss of my life. Wrap it up, Conrad is the loss of her life. She's the love of his life, and he's the loss of her life. This show is just so amazing, and they keep outdoing themselves every week. And so I'm just so excited to see what's coming next. Hopefully more Taylor Swift songs, because I love doing those deep, I love doing those lyrical analysis. So hopefully we get more Taylor Swift next episode. I mean, by all accounts, the next episode should be the wedding, so I'm very interested to see how this all goes down, because I know I've read the books, but who knows? They keep saying it might not be exactly like the books, so nobody knows at this point what's going to happen next, and almost all of the scenes from the trailer have now been seen in the show. So we're really flying blind here, and I'm so excited and I'm so giddy. But that's really all I have for this episode. So thank you so much for sticking around and watching, and I cannot wait to see you guys next week. Bye.